about those rankings and how things shake up on paper, at least in Hockey East. We welcome in Jeff Cox from SB Nation. Jeff, thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start with the hot topic, BU. 5 draft picks in the first 2 rounds this past year. A lot of talent coming back as well. They have to be the early favorite for the league this year, no?
Absolutely. I think with the crop of players they have coming in, coupled with the defensemen that they had, returning from last year's squad, I think they could be a really dangerous team. And they have a freshman goaltender, Jake Ottinger, who's kind of slipped below the radar because he's a 2017 NHL draft pick who I think could be a real difference maker for them in the crease as well.
Now let's stay on ComAv and talk about the Eagles. 7 early departures this offseason. Now I know it's Boston College, but realistically, how do you think this is going to affect them?
I think that the defensive losses are the biggest issues right now with Steve Santini, Ian McCoshen both leaving. That really leaves a big hole. And then Thatcher Demko leaving to go to Vancouver in the crease. I think defensively is where they're going to hurt the most. People talk about Alex Tuck and Zach Sanford and some of the losses up front that are more recent, but when you think about it, they still have Colin White, who's a first-round draft pick of Ottawa, Austin Cangelosi, and Ryan Fitzgerald. They'll still have enough firepower, I think, to score up front. It's the question, to me at least, is how's their defense going to hold up?
But now 2 teams I did want to mention that always find themselves right in the thick of things towards the end of the year are Providence and UMass Lowell. Both of the teams actually graduated a lot and are losing their starting goaltenders. Do you still think they're going to be contenders this year, what we're used to seeing from them?
It's hard to, knock UMass Lowell until they fall. Ever since Norm Bazin has gotten there, they just keep winning. They made 3 NCAA tournaments in a row to start. He seems to be kind of to use a football comment, he's kind of like a Bill Belichick type where he, just places in players and kind of lets everything fall into the system and the next man up with UMass Lowell. So it's hard to predict a fall for them. So you look at Providence, I think they lost a ton of guys, especially some of those glue guys like seniors, Mark Jankowski, and leading the way, Tom Parisi and John Gilmore in defense. I think both UMass Lowell and Providence will take a step back, but I think they'll still be in contention.
I like the analogy, the Belichick to Norm Bazin analogy. I like it a lot. Now over to last year's Cinderella, the Northeastern Huskies, a historic second half and postseason run propelled them into the national tournament. Now they really don't lose too much personnel-wise, so would it be too far-fetched to say that they could absolutely do it again?
I absolutely think they can do it again. Their defense should be even better this year, and then they have that whole entire first line back of Nolan Stevens, John Stevens, and Zach Aston Reese. I think they could be just as good, or if not better. I mean, it's hard to duplicate their second half success, but I would think that they're going to get off to a better first half than they did, this past year.
Yeah, it's tough not to get off into a better first half than this past year, but you also have to like to play. Ryan Rucks coming back as well, Adam Gaudette. So I do think big things to come for Northeastern. So we talked about the big guns. Jeff, do you have a sleeper going into this year?
I gotta have 2 sleepers. UConn and Merrimack, I think both could. I don't think either one of them have a chance to, win the Hockey East tournament or the regular season, but I think they could both, sneak up into that maybe 4 or 5 range and make some noise. UConn led by Tage Thompson and Max Latunov up front, and then they have a goalie coming in, Adam Huska, who's a New York Rangers pick. He could really kind of be the difference maker for them. And then Merrimack, they finished strong the last couple of weekends of the regular season, carried it into the playoffs, and they're a team that's always well coached by Mark Dennehy and have some upperclassmen coming back and a mobile defense that they could surprise some people.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what UConn's doing. I think they're very young as well, like you said. But I'm going to put you on the spot here. Early pick to win Hockey East this year.
Boston University. I don't think it's even close. If you look at how they are on paper, factor in their freshman class of Clayton Keller and Kiefer Bellows up front, Dante Favreau, Chad Chris on defense. It's a great group all around, and I think it's hard to imagine Boston University not winning it all come March in Hockey East.
Yeah, competition absolutely throughout that lineup. All right, Jeff Cox from SB Nation, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.